Hey, Renee, Chris, and Ryan going live. Best podcast, Beauty and the Beast. Sit back and catch a vibe. Oh yeah, we talking zombies and apocalypses and all those things you like. Going beast mode, and if you didn't know, it's Peter Z up on the mic. Hey, TWD family, grab the snacks about the pantry and subscribe and like if you can, please. Or those walkers eat you like some candy. Hey, okay. You at the right place at the right time. No one does it better, that's the bottom line. Beauty and the Beast, this is prime time. Let's go.
Suspense, yes. Everyone is
Very suspended.
very suspended right now. Hey, everybody.
What's going on, guys?
How we doing? We are live. Ladies and gentlemen watching tonight, we have with us Miss Carrie Genzel. She's hanging out with us tonight. Known as Clark from TWD and many other characters through her amazing career. And also State of Slay, that you are the founder of and the main, I guess,
The head honcho.
head honcho. The H.
Yeah.
I was resilient. I was resilient to say HBIC. You know what I mean?
The head slayer.
Yeah,
Head Slayer.
Head
All
Slayer,
right, there we
yes.
go.
The HF, Head Slayer. So yeah, Carrie's gonna hang out with us tonight. She's actually gonna help us go through the whole episode as far as episode 20 goes, which is very cool as well. And we have Meg back tonight hanging out with us because Meg has a good time hanging out. And
I love you guys.
I mean, who wouldn't? We're pretty amazing. I mean,
You're pretty awesome. Yeah.
I'm very humble tonight, as you can tell.
yeah,
Yeah. I like this, Ryan.
yeah, right.
Weirdly confident, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's
I don't know
Carrie.
why.
It's Carrie.
You know, I will say, I think that Carrie brings out the best in people. I truly think that.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Well,
cool.
listen, we had such a great time at the camp in May. I feel like we kicked off the panels in such a positive way, and people came up to me all weekend. It was like, I needed that. That was awesome, and it was so cool that we got to kind of really dive into some mental health stuff and positivity right out of the gate, and it just like organically happened. So we always have good energy and good vibes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was very cool looking out of the crowd and seeing people like nodding their head and going, "Wow, you're right," you know. And it was funny because they came for the experience of seeing an actress on stage being interviewed about your filmography, and all of a sudden it went right into mental health awareness and State of Slay. We talk real shit.
Yeah.
We talked some real shit. And
We did.
I love that.
Hey,
I
speaking
love that.
of talking real shit, you have your Let's Talk Real Shit
With Carrie Genzel.
Carrie Genzel at the camp.
I absolutely do. I think there's still a few tickets left. It's Saturday from 2 to 3 o'clock.
Okay.
And we're going to talk about some real shit. And, you know, that could be anything that's real and going on for the people that are there. And I definitely like to share about my journey and my mental health journey with everyone and just to get the ball rolling. But it really can go in so many different directions depending on who's there and who wants to share and or ask questions. But, you know, when we did it in May, it was really such an incredible experience. And I just got so many great comments afterwards, even from people who didn't attend. I got comments from that were like, I just heard about it and it was amazing. So hopefully those people that didn't go last time will get a ticket and jump in and join us this time, because it really was an awesome experience for all of us in the room.
Yeah, so
with our Dead Girls group, and several of them had gone and they loved it. They had nothing but good things to say about it. So yeah, highly recommend it.
I think too, it was the first year, well, it was my first time at the camp in May, and it was the first year that we did it, and it was something that Oscar and I came up with just from a really great conversation we had on the phone. And he's like, God, I wish you could do this at the camp. And I'm like, well, I can.
yeah.
And that's where it came from. But, you know, I think that, you know, people didn't really know what to expect. And, you know, I'm really open and honest about my journey. And especially, we're in a suite at the Hilton. So it's nice and private. There's pizza and drinks and stuff. So it's super casual and cool. But, at the end of the day, it's like, we're all more alike than not alike. And, it's really nice to be able to sit quietly because, the camp, there's a lot of excitement, a lot of noise, a lot of stuff going on. So it's nice to kind of exhale for an hour and really connect as human beings and go, I know, I get it. I see you. I understand you.
Right.
And in a convention situation, there's a lot of stimulus. There's a lot going on, and sometimes people can get overwhelmed. And everybody's so positive and excited, but sometimes that can be very overwhelming, especially when people are seeing people that they've watched on TV and that they've loved, and characters that they really identify with, and it can be overwhelming when we're all just standing there and we're like, hi.
Right.
So it's cool to kind of just sort of kick back for that hour and really talk about what may be going on for people. And I get to really share a part of me that, many people don't know. That don't follow my blog or haven't heard me talk about mental health stuff before. So it's really one of my favorite ways to communicate and to really get together with people is to really have those honest conversations because it's so important. And I know we talked about this at the camp about, the last few years, especially with so many people being isolated, it was really challenging in terms of mental health. And now that we're back out in the wild again, that can also bring challenges because we went from being isolated to like a lot going on, and being excited and anticipating seeing our friends again and doing the things that we love. But along with that sometimes comes, unexpected feelings or anxieties and so forth. So that's what I love about Talk Shit. We just get to go in there and really talk about what's really going on and support one another. And what's really cool too is like sometimes things come out that people have been kind of carrying around and haven't felt comfortable talking about. And that's really when something special happens.
Right.
When someone says, I didn't know that I was going to talk about that today, but I really needed to say that. And I'm like, that's the real shit.
Yeah.
We have a question.
The heavy shit.
Yeah, we are. So yeah. Well, I do want to.
Here's a question.
Yeah.
I just wanted to go out of the thing before. So our friend Pi asks, when AMC asks Carrie to be in the spinoffs, will she say yes?
Oh, yes. That's a hell yeah.
And look, I could easily see Clark being a part of the CRM, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
So let me just that's like a piece of the puzzle that just fits. There's no.
Well,
there's so much mystery around Clark, and I shared this with Renee recently, but they had actually called me to be a part of episode 17, and then it didn't happen. And so I think they were going to have Clark audit Negan.
Didn't I say that? Didn't I say
We
that?
talked about this.
I said that.
Which broke my heart when I watched the episode because he's sitting in the room, there's two chairs, and they're pulled out, like two people just left. And I went, you've got to be kidding me, because that was like...
We said they dropped the ball.
Yep.
We were like, they dropped the ball.
They actually called to find out my availability, and then it just didn't happen. And it probably, again, it was, they've got so much going on and so many characters that they have to, tackle and get all that storyline wrapped up. That is probably a time issue where they're like, geez, we just don't have time.
Yeah.
So I think that there was probably something written where that happened.
I think for me, right, here's my thought process on it, okay? So we go from a scene where Negan is being interviewed by Mercer, right, and he's doing his whole thing and blah, blah, blah. Then it fades to black. It cuts to the next scene. The next scene is Clark sitting there with her paperwork. So how many times a day do you wipe and him just to go... The very next scene is him walking the Commonwealth.
Yeah.
We don't know what happened after that point.
Literally a 10-second scene.
That's
Is all we craved it.
Well then, let me ask. You guys had your little theory on what you thought would happen. What do you think, Carrie, what do you think if you could write the scene yourself? How do you think that interaction would go down between Clark and Negan?
Ooh.
Oh, I think it would be hilarious.
Yeah.
Excuse me. she'd be doing her thing, and Negan would be doing his thing.
Yeah.
And I don't think she'd be too happy about it.
He would definitely be hitting on Clark.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
Right, which would be interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Being able to take off her suit or something. And I'm just picturing the look on Clark's face when it's like, no.
Yeah.
I think, after cut to a commercial break and there's just a stare down. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, Negan, is that your real name?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I just think that there was just even if it was just a short, like a couple of back and forth, I felt too like that was such a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I thought they would have just died laughing. Because when we shot that, all I kept thinking was just I can't wait till Negan comes to the Commonwealth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I knew this information and I saved it for Chris and Ryan because I wanted their genuine reactions and it was worth it.
I was so angry because I just remember seeing Negan talking about going to the Commonwealth, right? So the first thought that I, of course, had was, we're going to see Carrie again.
It's exactly.
We're going to see Carrie again. And I'm like, here it is. And the next scene is him walking through the Commonwealth. I went, fuckers!
There definitely was talk of it, you know. So it just didn't happen, from when they had called my agent to see if I was available to when that episode air was almost a year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so for almost a year, I'd be like, geez, I wonder what they were going to have me do. Right. And then I'm like, oh, tonight is 17. Let's see what. And I was like, I literally out loud went, no!
Mm-hmm.
I was like, and then just noticing the positions of the chairs, they were put stuff away.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh no. Can we go back to over?
Yeah. Can we get a rewrite? Can we?
Green.
Yeah, exactly.
I just want a deleted scene that you and JDM can go back and film it later on, and it's a deleted scene. I'd be okay with that.
During the closing credits or something.
Or put it on the Blu-ray, when it comes out,
Exactly.
I think it's more knowing that they were talking about it and didn't do it than thinking they didn't do it at all.
See, stuff like that, I feel like would have gone so far to just, add that little bit of comedic element that we needed for that episode,
I have to say, with all the stuff that's been going on in the last few episodes, and, I feel like there's a lot of places where Clark could have jumped in there and been in the mix of things. But again, they just have so much to do. They were, probably do we need to dive into these characters that we don't know as well? So, but I think, there's a lot of questions I have about who Clark is.
Yeah.
First off, we talked about this when I was on last time too. It's why did they choose Clark as her last name when that's such a prominent name on Fear, right?
Yeah.
It's is she related somehow to that family? What, why would you choose that last name?
Yeah.
Right?
In the chat, they're all saying they will watch a Carrie spin-off. They will want to do, if they think you could fit in well at the CRM. They would explain why you disappeared. Somebody asked something else.
Maybe she did disappear.
Yeah. Anthony asked could Carrie see herself playing any other Walking Dead character?
Oh my gosh. Wow. That's really hard because everyone's just does such a brilliant job with their characters. I'd almost be afraid to say something.
But do you mind? So I'm going to say it because immediately when I read that question, Carol popped into my head. 100%.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
I could see you being the one, the planner, the one who's always steps ahead, the one who can determine who's coming towards them by their footsteps. We'll get into that later.
Very intuitive.
Yeah. But I honestly could see you as a Carol, 100%.
As a Carol, that's a huge compliment, guys.
Except not the killing the children part.
Well,
Not that part. not the look at the flowers part.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't. Sometimes you gotta look at the flowers.
I'm saying.
Yeah. That's gonna be a new sign off for her. Sometimes you gotta look at I don't know.
Well, that's like when you sign the autograph for me in May. you're like, I don't know what to write. I just fucking love you.
Just there was nothing else to say.
Because it was the Stargate one, right?
Yeah, the Stargate
one. And
Yep.
yeah, that was funny.
That's a great question, though. I just, as an actor, it's like, I don't want to offend anybody, but they're so awesome. Because here's the thing, I was a fan since the pilot, and so I've fallen in love with those characters and those actors myself. It was such a thrill to be able to step on that stage and be like, holy shit, and it was so weird because it was. No one really knew much about the Commonwealth, so it was a very strange atmosphere.
Yep.
It was a big secret, as to what it was going to be and who we are. But the thing is that's so funny, looking back, is that Clark was such a hard ass, and then in the next few episodes they're eating ice cream. Where I'm like, that would just look like an asshole. They're Disneyland now.
Yeah.
See, but. I think one of the main reasons why I could see you being a CRM transplant is Lance mentions at one point, before he dies, he mentions to Pamela about these other communities that she needs him for, these other connections and everything like that. For all we know, you could be one of those connections, those people you're contracted to do these things for the Commonwealth by the CRM kind of situation. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's such an easy way to place you and have you take this path, which maybe is why we haven't seen you. People know, obviously you haven't been around, you disappeared or whatever. Maybe you didn't disappear.
Right.
Maybe you just went back to your real job at the CRM.
Right. Sure. And what a great place to infiltrate, right? Because you're part of the, as an auditor, who's coming in, where they're coming from. You have all the information on these other groups out there, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, that is clever, if that's what she's up to.
I mean, I could see it.
It's a pretty badass uniform, so I'd be down for that.
Yeah.
At least you wouldn't have to look like a pumpkin trooper.
Well, she had on the nice tailored black suit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
And,
But she was supposed to wear the Commonwealth uniform.
well, yeah,
She was
right.
supposed to have the trooper outfit on. That was a big thing when they booked me originally, is that I was on another job and they were like, but we need you to come in. This is this costume. You have to be measured and fitted. And I thought, what in the hell am I wearing? This is Walking Dead. It's just throw some clothes under a truck, run them over, and then I'll put them on. What? Anyway, and so that's why, is because they're like, no, it's like this armor and whatever. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay. And then, I go in for the wardrobe fitting and there's a whole rack of suits. And I'm like, guys, I think Clark. And they're like, yeah, they changed their mind.
Yeah.
Damn it!
It's been rewritten again.
I can't live out my stormtrooper fantasies.
That's totally what it was for me. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. How many people do I get to shoot and miss?
I get to be on The Walking Dead and look like a stormtrooper. It's kind of the best of both worlds.
Right.
Except we all know now that those costumes are really uncomfortable. So
Yeah, true.
I think I did okay in the suit.
Which is why I feel like Daryl, Norman never was really in full gear. I feel like he was like, this is way too uncomfortable for me. I can't ride my bike. I can't put my crossbow. I'm tapping out.
James Shaw actually said something to Norman in an interview. They were talking about the interview about the suit or something, and he's like, "I noticed you never had it all the way on."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Reason being,
That's right.
they suck.
Yes, I can do that. Yeah.
That's what happens when you're number one on the call sheet. You're like, this is really uncomfortable. I'm just gonna have put this on. Yeah. And the thing is too, you think about those. Well, Oscar knows.
Yeah.
In the Georgia humidity,
Mm.
right, with the all black and then I can't imagine. Yeah, hot. I mean, when we were shooting, it was like freezing cold,
Mm-hmm.
That warehouse that we were shooting in was just at like a refrigerator. It was our teeth were chattering. What do you?
Sorry, they think I'm drinking on the job.
Not any sponsored content or anything.
No,
Yeah,
no,
right.
no.
We're not sponsored by Bang, but
No.
Bang, if you're listening.
Yeah, you're what powers me through.
It's funny because I remember we had at one point we had Peter Zimmerman and James Chen on our show, and so they play Eduardo and Cal from the Hilltop, right? And we were talking to them because you have to remember they're on a hill in the summer in Georgia.
Mhm.
And they're dressing them in like 16 layers, and their outer layer is like a winter coat, essentially.
Yeah.
And we're like, what is the point?
It's like a giant leather trench coat. I don't know, like a pea coat or something.
Like a fall coat, actually. And I'm like, what's the point of
Plus,
that?
like a hoodie. That's I'm just like, oh.
And they have them doing weapons training. I'm like, has anybody passed out on the set of The Walking Dead? Like, what the fuck?
That's the thing, like stuff like that. I've been on set before too. I shot Flash Gordon in Vancouver in the summer, and my character had the costume was incredible, but it was really ornate with beading and whatever. I couldn't even get it on by myself. I had to have someone dress me. That's how ornate this costume was. But it was really heavy and thick. And I remember being in a scene. And I turned around, and I just remember saying out loud, I was like, I'm going to pass out. Because all of a sudden, it's like everything looked like I was underwater. And I'm like, this is not good. It's really easy to, overheat and pass out.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's really tough. It's like, so, yeah, as actors, we're always, it always seems like you're in the wrong costume for the weather.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, even with you, right, Carrie? I remember you told us when you were on our show the first time that they had you in this room and it was freezing cold.
Yeah,
freezing cold.
And
listen, if you watch those scenes, you seem like I got my clipboard or whatever, but I always put my hands underneath the desk because I have a whole bunch of those forming things. And I'm holding on to them for dear life. So that's really what I'm doing in the scene. Trying to keep warm. I had them everywhere under my costume. I had everything. Just after a while, you just get cold.
Yeah.
Right. It's amazing that you can't really see our breath because you could in the room when we were there. You can see Michael's breath in the scene. And maybe it's just because the way he was standing with the light, but it was freezing. It was really, really freezing. And the way that we shot that, we kind of shot it, like I've said this before, like it felt like I was like speed dating, right? So they'd have someone sit down and I'd rattle through the questions and then they go, okay. And then the next person would sit down and I'd rattle through the questions. So they were going back and forth to like the warm area, but I was there like, okay, let's go. And Michael Shaw was there too. And I don't know, but I think when you're standing up, maybe it's easier. I don't know to stay warm, but it was just like on my little chair. I was like, okay, let's go. It was really cold, and there was no way to keep heat in too. Even if they put the heaters on, it was like a warehouse, so it's got high ceilings and like no insulation, so it didn't matter. It was just like going.
So what the lesson here that we're learning is that AMC needs a consulting climatologist.
Yeah.
They need to work well with wardrobe.
Yeah. Right.
I wish that I had a big winter coat in that scene.
See, you and Peter and James could have swapped outfits and been completely fine. Granted, it was different seasons, but you could have swapped and it was fine.
That's fine. Yeah. We could have recycled.
Yeah, exactly. Some hand-me-downs.
But yeah. And I mean, had we shot that in the summer, we'd probably all be like dying of heat. So,
I guess in Georgia there is no happy medium, is there?
No, just right now, October is nice.
Yeah, I'm actually looking forward. I mean, I say I'm looking forward to the weather down there, but at the same time, it was 73 degrees up here and like humid.
Yeah, but a couple days ago it was like 35 degrees here.
Yeah, so like
our humidity's down now, so you want that. Like we're pretty like humid wise. Yeah, my humidifiers have stopped working.
Humidifying.
Okay.
Are we thinking like 70s, 80s this weekend?
Yeah.
Ooh.
I thought it said 70s.
When I get off the plane, the real feel's going to be 80.
Oh, okay.
That
So
sounds
I'm
phenomenal.
bringing shorts and t-shirts because
That's
I
exactly what I'm bringing.
do shorts and t-shirts up to about 40 degrees. I'm
Yeah,
okay.
you're good then. That's
Yeah.
for sure. Shorts and t-shirts.
Especially with the inside, so you want to.
Yeah,
I was
true.
gonna ask you guys that. I noticed that they have. That's great though.
I know,
It's like-
it'll be much better.
We'll have like real seating. People. I mean, not that I minded having everybody sprawled out on the pool, but like there were some people who were uncomfortable. If you had I don't know if you had to come down in like a wheelchair or something, or you had a long trip to make.
Yeah.
So now, we are indoors.
Yep.
It's going to be a fantastic setup.
I'll tell you, if we had to do it outside again, we were doing it in the pool. We were going to be in the pool.
I like
Well, I
that.
like that it's inside, and
Yeah.
I think that there's an easier flow because
Yep.
people are trying to, get to their photo ops and different events and whatever, and the pool was kind of out of the way.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I think people sometimes were hesitant to walk all the way down.
Yes.
So now, we're all in the
And
convention
a
center.
huge thanks to Renee
Oh,
because
God, yeah.
the panel schedule, everything has been solidified and done, submitted. They pushed it out. So thank you, Renee, for the panel scheduling and everything you've done behind the scenes, which is probably like 90% of the work that's been done behind the scenes as far as putting all this together, confirming it with the main people behind that are running the show with Oscar and Casey and their whole team. So, we appreciate the work you put in. We really do.
I love doing it.
Yeah. So,
It takes a very special person to like scheduling.
yeah.
That's what I've been told by many.
I think that-
Yeah.
I think the cool thing is that now we're going to see a lot of cohesion
Yeah.
with the schedule and everything, and I think it's going to flow really nicely. I think I'm very excited for this weekend.
Our panels are going to be packed.
Yeah.
Packed.
That's amazing.
We're-
honestly.
They should be,
Yeah.
That's the thing. I think too, people will kind of know where to go and
Yeah.
sit down and enjoy, listening to different people and
Yeah.
and being a part of that. Yeah.
And for the
Instead of being
first
like,
time,
"Where's
as well, too, our audience that isn't able to make it can watch live while we're doing the panels as well.
We're not sure we can do it live. We're not sure we can do it
Well,
live.
yeah, they'll watch
We'll
them.
have at least have recordings, and we'll
Yep.
see what we can do.
Yeah.
live.
Yeah.
But there will be good recordings so that you can actually hear it this time.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I heard the internet and all the Wi-Fi and stuff might be.
Yeah, just
so.
yeah. We'll
But
do
we're
our
gonna
best,
try.
right? Yes. Well, yes. So, Carrie, another question. I have to look back up. Mitchell asked you, since you've been a fan of The Walking Dead for the entirety, do you have a favorite episode?
Oh my god.
That's always a hard one.
Oh my god. There's like I can't even. If you could see my brain right now, it would just be like like a fast forward. God, that's really tough. Oh my god. I keep like remembering like certain scenes or different moments for certain characters
Mhm.
that come to mind that were really amazing. But there's so many of them. I don't really know that I could pick just one, and I really don't. Oh my god.
This,
More than one.
this episode had a throwback to Carol with Terminus, which I thought was a great throwback to show, especially because this episode focused highly on Carol. So like I thought them putting that in there,
Right.
Daryl and her on the bike and everything like that, and then showing the Terminus save and everything, and you go into this episode and you see what she's doing again with saving her people. So I thought that was a really cool, like, let's slip this in there kind of thing.
And it was cool saying, was it her and Daryl escaping on the bike from Herschel's farm?
Herschel's
right?
farm, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
That's actually one of
Yeah.
my favorite episodes. So I was really glad they included that.
Yeah. I have to say that I think it's top 5 for me. Is definitely like
The Herschel
Herschel farm and the fire and
yeah.
everything and the horde. That was pretty cool.
Because that goes into my favorite all-time scene, and when they bring at the end when they bring in the introduction of comic book Michonne, with,
Oh, yeah.
the hood
And the
the walkers.
The pet walkers.
That is till the day I die will be my favorite scene out of, because it was comic book perfection, and
And that happened 10 years ago because
Yeah.
I posted that.
yeah,
It was the 10-year anniversary just recently, and because I wrote an article, I was like, oh my gosh, because that was so iconic,
Yep.
And comic book fans were just waiting for that moment.
and yeah,
So yeah, it
it's-
wasn't denying that first scene was not denied. She hadn't been cast yet.
right,
Oh
yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
That's why it was just a silhouette. Yeah, it was just a dark silhouette.
Yep.
I
It
squat.
wasn't even her. Yeah.
Right, they do that sometimes.
Yeah.
There's parts that I play too where I'm like, well, that wasn't me. Yeah, okay. I think the pilot will always stick out for me too because, I wasn't necessarily a zombie fan in terms of the genre, and I thought, well, I don't know, I'll give it a try or whatever, and it just really grabbed me. I think out of the gate, it just really surprised me, and I think just how engaging it was in terms of the characters, but how cinematic it felt for television. It was like, it really, I was like, okay, you got my attention. Let me see, what this is all about. And I really just, felt for Rick's character and was like, oh my God, like I'm in it to win it. Like I'm getting on my horse and let's go. Like, it really made a big impact in me, and it really did its job because I'm like, I want to know what happens to these people, but yeah, there's so many episodes. I mean, it's incredible to think how long that it's been on. It's so rare that a show gets a run that long.
Yeah.
And it's trippy to be a part of Supernatural as well, because that's another show that had such a long run, and it's so rare, right, for shows to get that many seasons, that many episodes. And the shows change and evolve so much from the beginning until, that last episode. So it's interesting to see that.
That's how I feel about like Stargate. That's one of my favorite shows growing up, and it still is. I've watched it like 6 times over. And you go back to like, the season, I forgot which number season you were on, Carrie. But you go back to that season, and then you go back to Stargate Universe, which is its second spinoff. And there's about 10-year difference between them. And It is so insane because it actually they don't look like they come from the same universe. They progress so far that until they start mentioning like the actual Stargates themselves and like the 0-point modules, which is the energy source and everything, that's when you start to like connect that it's the same show, like the same universe. But you don't know that until they start mentioning those things because everything just looks so different.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, I feel too like with those shows when they spin them off, even with The Walking Dead, they all have different looks to them, right? And different feels to them. I'm excited to see, what's to come in terms of the spinoffs. But it's I mean, Stargate too, and I think about all the different spinoffs, and they really all had their own world and universe, right? So it does. It's so funny thinking back to Stargate and that episode. It feels life seems so simple then.
Right. The industry's made like such a change. It just from where they film to how they film everything. So,
Sometimes I wish I was still that nerdy sci-fi fan that just sat there and found Stargate for the first time and binged an entire season in like a day.
I came across like a funny meme. It was like a Halloween meme, and basically it was a classroom from like the 1980s probably, with all the kids sitting in a room behind their desks with the cheesy old plastic cutout face masks and the big baggy whatever
plastic outfit
and
or whatever it was.
And it's like funny how like this throwback meme of children sitting in a classroom looks like you're about to enter the scariest movie of your life, because those masks were frightening as hell, and we all walked around in them.
You couldn't breathe, and you couldn't. They like smooshed your face.
You couldn't see,
and you just sweat.
Yeah. You had like a nose in your eye. You know what I mean? It was like whatever.
The walls.
Yeah. Oh goodness.
See, I think I've seen that, and I'm like, this is the most like
frightening
thing I've ever seen. And
Yeah.
if I go back to my mother's like photo albums, there's a whole bunch of pictures of us with those masks.
Oh God, yeah. I was like at Casper, and I'm like, I look nothing like Casper the Ghost in this. I look like if you were to put red here, I would look like Saw's child. You know what I mean? Like crazy. Yeah, crazy.
That's totally it.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Anthony Collins is in the chat, and he is the organizer of That's My Viewing Party. Yeah, that's my. I always want to say TWD, but so He said, Carrie, do you have any plans for the last episode of The Walking Dead?
Oh boy. Oh boy. I don't have any definite plans as of now. More so because Michael and I are under contract on a property, and so I'm not sure if we're going to be closing right then and where we're going to be. We'll still be in Georgia, but just in a different part of Georgia.
Okay.
So I'm not sure where I'm going to be physically during the finale. But when it gets closer, I'll know.
Okay.
And then I'll be able to make a decision.
I believe what he's getting to is if you are available and if you would, obviously, if you guys would like to be a part of the event, you're more than welcome.
Right. Thank you. Yes, I still have your card, and I remember speaking to you about it in May.
There we go. Well, look at that.
Figure out where I'm physically going to be at that time.
I'm just going through the chat. I think we're all caught up. So, let's dive into this episode, shall we? How do we feel about this? So I know
How do you feel about it?
Okay.
We know you just wanted to ask that question.
Yeah. I want to make this I enjoyed the episode. I really did. I thought it was a great episode. We haven't seen Carol and Daryl together, and all the Carol-Daryl relationshipers were all blah, blah about it and everything. Thinking love's in the air and all that stuff. So I just, with that aside, I just want to, and we all know Carol's a badass. Okay, we all know that she's a very highly skilled person at what she does, and she does what she does very well. So the scene opens up, and if you have, and I usually watch all these episodes with captions on because you'll pick up on certain things that if you don't, like it could be a voice or whatever. So when it opens up and she's in the kitchen, in captions it says music playing. So there's music playing. I haven't turned the episode up real loud yet to see if I can pick up on what it is, but it just says music playing. She then pauses, smiles, turns around, and there is Ezekiel. And she's like, oh, I thought we already said goodbye kind of thing. But she mentions that she knew his footsteps. Okay, I heard your footsteps. I knew it was you. All right. She turns around and she starts looking for bagels and all this other stuff. She's packing up food. And then once again in captions, it says like thud or something, thud, gasp, whatever. And she turns around and Zeke is gone. So, over the music that was playing, you managed to hear Ezekiel's footsteps. Turned around, but you didn't manage to hear the footsteps of the people taking Ezekiel, nor did you hear them muffle Ezekiel to remove him from the room. Didn't hear any of that. This all-out fight ensues. The bad guys are chasing, trying to get her and chase her through this bakery. She goes through the back door within seconds of Ezekiel being taken, runs around the building, gets to the front of the building, and I'm like expecting to see like Ezekiel being like put into a car or taken away in a Jeep or shoved in a building or something. Nothing. Not only that, but we have two of the dumbest bad people in the world because they all think, hey, let's chase her out the one single door out the back. No one wanted to divide and conquer. Hey, I'm going to get her out the front. You go out the back. We'll meet. Nothing. I just found that shoddy as far as writing goes. That's just that really was like, to open up the episode like that after what we've gotten the past couple of weeks, it really grinded my guts. I was like, we didn't have to do this. There was other ways. But that's why we have the professional here because, Carrie even said, they have a lot to fit. They have a lot to do. And I'm on board with that because I know they have storylines to tie up and finish. The sequencing was terrible. That was really like my main gripe about the whole episode. Other than that, it was fantastic. I mean, and that the fact that they were hidden with their wagon and bike next to a warehouse, hidden. in broad daylight. So yeah, I digress.
That was a lot.
Yeah,
It was good though.
How do you really feel, Chris?
yeah. I mean, look, the fight scene with Daryl too. I could keep going if you want me to, but you know, there's literally a knife stuck in the guy's arm, and you keep reaching for his face. You want to literally pull the knife out and stab him in the head. Like that's all you had to do. But you wanted to go to poke.
Get out of here.
And I was just like, no, this isn't real. This isn't Daryl. Daryl fought Beta. Threw him down like an elevator shaft.
Literally kicked him down an elevator shaft.
And you're struggling with the dumpster man? You know what I mean? Like,
His children were just taken. He was distraught, and he was just not focused on what he should be focused on. He's worried about the kid.
there was a knife in the man's shoulder. Not only did he twist it, he just needed to pull it out and reinsert it instead of trying to gouge his face.
But we did also get confirmation that dog is still alive.
Dog is still alive. Yes, yes.
It's funny that you mentioned that though, because when I was watching the episode and I noticed the knife, I was like, well, that's handy.
Yeah.
And not utilized.
Right. Literally, the death strike is within hand's reach. You know,
But he was reaching for
another knife. Yeah,
It's right there.
sure. I know we have to do drama. I know we have to make it look like our people are in trouble and, you know, death is knocking on the door.
We need suspense.
We need suspense. But
Daryl's the wrong character to do that with because
we know he's going to live.
Knowing.
Yeah, like we know he's going to live. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I felt leading it off. You know.
Plot twist: Daryl actually gets killed this season. The show is not about Daryl, but it's about his twin brother Beryl. Beryl.
That's the best you can come up with, Beryl.
I couldn't say Carol. What would you come up with?
I don't know.
Laryl?
Could have said, yeah, probably.
I mean, it
Tom,
doesn't have to rhyme.
John.
I wanted a rhyme, okay?
His lawyer brother who took a different route in life, John.
The one who avoided the backwoods.
Yeah.
He went to the concrete jungle.
I figure out how the hell he gets to Paris.
Yeah.
We're
So,
all wondering that.
This is gonna.
Yeah, so, Norman Reedus has said not of his own free will, and I think either Gimple or somebody said that he wakes up there.
Oh, correct. Okay, but
I don't have a clue.
He just wakes up there.
Yeah, he just
maybe
floats over and wakes up. I don't know.
maybe he goes to a
Old Dixon.
It's
They just make him a raft out of some, you know, shoddy supplies.
it reminds me of Pirates of the Caribbean.
Give him a little.
How did he escape off the island? He roped together some sea turtles.
Yeah.
What did he use for rope? Human hair from my back.
So I think that's what it's going to be. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, very.
See, I know they're not going to do this route, but this is also how they could preserve Clark too. In my theory,
Preserve.
yes, like
Okay.
the character of
Yeah.
Clark.
Okay.
Anyways, the CRM, okay, kidnaps Negan, kidnaps Maggie, kidnaps Daryl. Originally was going to kidnap Carol also, but now we know Melissa McBride's not going to be filming in France. And they could, you know, whatever. They could then say to them, okay, we have news of these variants around the world that they're mutating differently. Like in France, we have reports that they run. In New York City, we have reports that they climb buildings. And we need, you know, the three of them get kidnapped against their will and basically get suicide squatted with some electric collars and says, if you don't do what we tell you, we're gonna kill you, but we need you to go to these places and investigate them.
So they're gonna have transmitter collars on. They're
Yes.
gonna blow their heads off.
Yes.
You really went sci-fi in that one, huh?
You know. I like to have out there theories because
Yeah.
I know nobody else is gonna have this kind of theory.
Right.
And the 1% of the time that I get it right, I feel like a badass.
I actually like it though because everything fits. Honestly, it does fit.
I don't know how else you would explain them leaving behind every bit of family they have ever known for the past 15 years in the Walking Dead universe.
Yeah. Unless it's forced.
That's what I mean. So I mean, how do you explain it? I think it's a CRM. I think the CRM is that common element in all three shows, the only common element in all three shows that has the resources to get these people to the places that they're going to be at.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Clark was doing dossiers on all of them, and that she was the one who was like, "We need
All
to
of
recruit them."
Everyone.
I've got really thick.
I got a heavy workload. I'm out of here. Yeah. It is wine o'clock somewhere, and I got a stack of papers.
With this episode, to me, it felt like it would have been the perfect backdoor pilot if Carol had stayed on with the spinoff. Because we have, 4 episodes left, and it was so Carol and Daryl centric, and it just worked perfectly as a backdoor spinoff.
Yeah.
But didn't really go that way.
Yeah.
I mean, that could have been the route they were going with it too, because
That's what I'm thinking.
this was filmed probably close to a year ago at this point, right? I mean,
Well,
For sure.
Yeah, and originally, well, before the flagship series was announced canceled, Carol and Daryl were going to go off and come back and visit. That was how it was supposed to go, but then they decided to cancel the series, and then had to redo everything. But yeah, and they did have to reshoot some scenes, so you kind of I'm always watching like, what would they have shot? Trying to figure that out, especially with Carol's announcement or with Melissa McBride's announcement and everything. So, yeah.
There's some good chat going on in the chat. But stuff we'll talk on. So they were talking about the neck shot. Sebastian got bit in the neck. Lance got the arrow in the neck. There's also something funny that happened with Joshua as well. But we'll talk about that towards the end with his last scene that he had. Let me see here. Neck shots deadly. Prevent turning. Was there a point to him not being hit in the head? I mean, maybe we'll see him as a walker. Maybe they'll find him with the arrow, and
That'd be cool.
yeah.
you know what pisses me off about that, right? Though, really grinds my guts about that. Did Lance really think, knowing who Carol and Daryl both are, and what they've been through, did he really think that he had any kind of, pun intended, shot at killing them?
No.
And then surviving.
They have arrows.
Yeah.
That's what
But
I'm pretty sure Daryl could have killed him with
probably through a knife.
a credit card. He would have slit his throat. Daryl would have found a way to kill him.
So think about his mental capacity right now. He was locked in a room. We don't know for how many days or how long or how many hours with Sebastian, feeding him someone that he had employed.
Right.
Yeah. So when they found him, he was not. He's not in any kind of clear state of mind. He hasn't probably eaten anything. He's dehydrated, I'm sure. He definitely, because we know Lance is a very calculated person. That wasn't a calculated risk he took. He took just a risk without any calculation. So he definitely was just, throwing shit in the wind, basically. And
he probably was.
Yeah.
I mean, what was he using to wipe? That's
maybe a quarter. I don't know. He always had it on him. Kind of like a seashell.
The creepy coin?
Yeah, the creepy coin.
The creepy coin?
the creepy coin.
Yeah.
Last week we talked about the fact that Pamela came in when Lance was locked up, and she goes in his pocket to grab the coin.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm no prude, but that made me a little uncomfortable. I was a little creeped out. I'm like, we're about to go from what is it, PG-13, rated R, whatever the hell it is, rated R, to now we're going into triple X. Like, this is getting a little weird for me.
A lot of people.
The whole scene was creepy.
Yeah.
I was like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
When she took her hand and ran it across his mouth, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Is he like an oral fixation? Like, what?
He was into it, whatever it was.
I guess it doesn't matter now.
I got the feeling that interaction wasn't the first time it had happened.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Which is very contrary to how she's treated him in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But then you think about the way that even that scene had gone. It was very degrading.
Mm-hmm.
It was very demeaning. And so I guess it's more on par with how she has treated him than I originally thought. But I'm like, I don't, if you're intimate with somebody, I don't really see you treating them that way. But I don't know. It was very bizarre to me. I just uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I was just going through the chat real quick.
Bye.
Yeah.
Let's never talk about that scene between Lance and Pamela.
Yeah.
We talk about Negan and Alpha, we don't talk about Lance and Pamela.
Yeah,
I was gonna
no.
say, what would you rather have between the
I
two?
was gonna say never, so it's very
The family that's with Pamela, do we know, like, who? I couldn't figure out who they were. Do we know? Are they like the family that's sitting with Pamela? It's a woman.
in her office.
Yeah, there were several families, but Kayla was Sebastian's girlfriend.
Okay.
That the lady doing most of the talking was Kayla's mom.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, she said Kayla's very distraught or very
Right.
whatever, but that was his girlfriend.
All right. Because I was wondering, like, they got some Colonel Sanders looking dude standing behind her, and I'm like, who are these people? I don't even...
Yeah, I think rich people and then,
Yeah, because she talks about a donation, right? Yeah.
Contributions.
Yeah.
So what about the coin, Chris? I did about the coin. That was so freaking cool.
Oh, that was awesome.
With what? What do you mean?
He like beat Sebastian's head in and then
Oh.
coin it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that coin's been through a lot in this series that he's been
It
on.
means a lot. It's very symbolic.
Yeah.
Because, that's his thing. His dad gave it to him. It has her dad's head on it. I mean, it's President Milton's face on that coin. It's just, to me, it was just very symbolic. And then
Yeah, to leave it in the head. Yeah.
Well, to smash the head, then put it in there. That's like a big, F you to her.
Yeah. Because at first I didn't even recognize that was Sebastian mangled on the floor. I thought it was like,
Well, it's on the coat. That's what.
yeah.
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 And then once I saw it, when they focused in on the coin, I said, oh, it's Sebastian, yeah.
Because he said, I have something to do, or,
Yep.
before they took him out. So,
Yep.
yeah, that was,
That was pretty brutal.
Yeah.
It was like, wow.
That whole scene with Yumiko and Pamela, it kind of gave you that feeling like you knew, that she's not gonna fit the script with what they wanted. Like you already immediately like, you're not going to, at this point, you're not going to intimidate anyone into doing your becking, kind of will like this, especially someone like Yumiko, because she's way too strong of a person, and as far as then you're trying to use her brother's leverage, and that right there, is
She's very
just,
protective of her brother.
Yeah.
They haven't seen each other for how long? That was a bit, it was huge.
yeah. Just making sure we're good. So they're talking about behind the scenes with Josh forgot to put the coin back. There the coin. Touching the pocket. Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, they talked about that last week on Talking Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was behind the scenes. I didn't get to see any of that. That was all behind the scenes footage. Teo did several episodes as a Walker Sebastian. Walker. Oh. What did it say? Wonder if the record other than Michonne's pet walkers. I don't know.
I think that is a record because usually we never see walkers for that long.
Really?
Yeah, because think about it. It was like, what, 3 episodes as a walker? Well, no.
Well, because they usually,
Two and a
because they want to put him down pretty quickly, because
Exactly.
you don't want to see your person walking around and be like that. So yeah, I wonder about that's interesting. I'm gonna do some research on that.
Yeah, right.
Renee's on the case. We got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll get an answer.
I think they don't want to pay the actors to go through the works of becoming a walker and then
Mhm.
I see his video.
them going overtime.
Yeah, you gotta pay him too much for that. But
That's
Teo
right.
posted a
We just
video.
want to see them and then we're out.
Teo posted a video, like a time lapse video of him getting made up, and yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm sure it takes quite a long time for that whole process, and then you go in, they'd have to come in really early in the morning, and then you're sitting around all day like that, and
Yeah.
then you got to get it all, take it all.
I did see the one photo. It's like he's laying on the ground. Is that the one he's like
Yeah.
posed? He's like
Oh, yeah.
posing, like laying on the ground.
Get all the goo and
Yeah.
everything.
Just kind of chilling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All I can think about, working with fake blood is a very sticky situation.
Yeah.
All I
Yeah.
can think of is they probably had to like pull him off the floor.
Well, when he was rolling around in it, that's what I was thinking. I was like, oh,
Well, it starts to dry, right? And then it becomes like a sticky, it's like glue.
Mhm.
I played Megan Fox's mom in Jennifer's Body, and she was like all covered in blood, and I come in the room and I'm like, oh my God, and I pick her up. And every time we did that, I was like stuck to her, right? She like, her long hair, and I'd be like, I was like, I'm so sorry. I was like, there, It's like, it's okay. I'm like, tap your head and do this. Because it dries, or it's supernatural. I had, a lot of fake blood on my face, in just my imagination, and it starts to like harden, and then it's itchy, and that's all I could think of was looking at that picture. I was like, oh God, I was like having PTSD. Like,
Anthony,
like, I bet he was like stuck to the floor.
Anthony was sharing.
Your clothes, like
Yeah.
I did something else one time where my character gets shot in the stomach, and then they don't wash it, right? Because I had to go back to do other stuff, and it literally, my costume scratched me as I put it back on, because it was like hard, like I could step into it. Right? So it's kind of, it looks cool, but it's not the most fun to work with. It's messy. It's yummy though. It tastes good. Yummy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sweet. Yeah.
All right.
Candy.
Because I know that for Lance's his death scene, he had they did that. He said they did it in like one take because he had to have the blood in his mouth, and then the camera panned up and away like that. So he had to like do a project to gargle it up and everything like that. But he was like having, like that was, he said probably one of the more challenging things was having that in his mouth and laying there trying to gargle it at the right time
and not swallow it.
Yeah.
Like, oh God.
Yeah.
Sometimes depending on how they do it, I've done it too, where you have a nose. They'll stick a capsule up your nose, and then you have to like hit it. So there's all kinds of weird things, and it's very uncomfortable. But the pressure's on you when you're like, we can only do this once, and you're like, oh
yeah.
Oh shit.
And you don't really know what's going to happen. Because it's very syrupy. So you just hope they put enough in there, and then you just kind of try to get it all.
Well, that's
And usually you need a lot more than you think you do, so it reads on camera. Because even when we did the interrogation scene and Ezekiel coughs, and there's a bit of blood that comes out. In person, there was a lot more blood, like that you could see. But when you saw it on camera, it was not. It was just because it was so dark in that set. So it's tricky to kind of get that right, thing. You gotta like hold it in your mouth, and you're like, don't swallow it.
Yeah.
And it's hard because he was laying down, so it's like you want to swallow, but it looked good. That's all that is, right?
well, that's like when I was in high school, I went to a trade school for culinary. That was one of the things I wanted to do in my life. And I had a friend who was in the film program and wanted to get into like directing and producing and all that stuff. And so when he was going through this, he actually told me that one of the Hollywood tricks of creating vomit actually is taking like slices of bread and putting them in your mouth and then mixing it with milk in your mouth.
Yeah.
And it creates a very realistic vomit look.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, could you imagine sitting there for like 5 minutes, like trying to like have this in your mouth? I'm lactose intolerant. I will drink milk if I have to, but just the thought of like milk plus bread sitting in your mouth and like textures for me are a big thing. No, that's
kind of like oatmeal.
I hate oatmeal.
I guess I'm trying to think if I've ever had to throw up on camera. I don't think I have. I've been on set where that's happened, and they've mixed it, not to gross it out even more, right? But they like mixed in like raw eggs. So like a really like
to get that like that stringy.
It does not.
It's a really nice consistency.
This thing I have up here is very, very visually effective. So I will start gagging right now if we keep going with this conversation. I just got the tingle when you mentioned the egg. I literally got the buildup of saliva. I'm gonna have to.
I remember when I was in college, we did a short film, and like my character had to die, so we had to like do like the throat slash. But I was, in college, you're poor, so we had like the cheapest blood, and there's so much of it, I was stained for a few days, and I had to go back to school, and my parents were like, I got some of it off, but like my neck was super red. And it was really embarrassing.
It doesn't even have to do with it being cheap or not. Like with Supernatural, because I had it all over my face, my hands, everywhere. And it was on for hours and hours and hours.
It just dies you, yeah.
And so then it's like baking in, and I'm like, a ghostly white. At the end of the day, when they went to take it off, my skin was stained. So I have a pro tip for you, just in case you decide to, work with
the television, so I'll take any tip.
Yeah, pro tip. This is what they used on Supernatural: men's shaving cream to take the stains out.
Really?
Yep.
That's really good to know.
Yeah. So Halloween's coming up, everybody. Get some stains.
Yeah.
Anyone attending the camp.
Right.
Bring some shaving cream with you. That's what they use to get the stains out of my skin.
Wow. Okay.
We should tell Rachel that.
We're gonna do.
Yeah, in a can. Yeah.
We're gonna walk around, do midnight shaving. We're just gonna shaving cream bomb everybody now.
I'm keeping my door locked now.
You know what? I think for the camp in May next year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now we're not only gonna have talk real shit with Carrie Genzel, but now we're gonna have pro tips with Carrie Genzel.
Yeah.
Pro
Pro
tips.
tips. I like it.
It's 30 minutes of Carrie just giving us pro Hollywood tips.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Yeah. I mean,
there's like very odd things that happen behind the scenes. As an actor, you're in like the weirdest situations constantly, where you're like, how in the heck did I get myself in this situation? And often with other cast members who you don't know at all, right?
Right.
That's like, hey, this is awkward.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. Yeah. And they always want to do those scenes like the first day, when you don't know anybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's do the really most intricate, awkward stuff day one. But yeah, that's a good one. That's one that I learned, because it stains my skin too. Like, it's nasty.
The new slogan: shaving cream. It gets the blood out. You know what I mean? Like, so it'll be a new slogan for them. You know what I mean? New men.
They should do it.
Yeah.
Halloween.
Yeah.
It gets the blood out.
It gets the blood out. Yeah.
What's the company? Barbasol?
Barbasol, yeah.
It's a total missed opportunity for them. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Why they're not advertising that.
So what do we think about Lance in this situation here? With him leading Carol and supposedly Daryl, but we know Daryl stayed behind in that gunfight that no one could shoot each other.
The Stormtrooper fight.
Yeah. So I mean, Lance proclaims that he's a changed man. This whole situation has changed him and everything like that. But do we think he was actually leading Carol to where she wanted to go, or do you think his agenda was let's lead her
into a trap?
Well, not a trap, but let's just get me away from this situation as far as possible, and then I'll try to he attempts to turn on that Lance charm, if you want to call it. I mean, like, do you guys think he was like really doing the right thing at this point in time?
No.
I kind of debated that the whole episode.
Yeah.
Like, did he truly go off the deep end, or was it a ploy throughout, like turning it on and off throughout the whole episode? I still don't have an answer for that.
Because he starts talking, like, if you guys throw it back to when he had this grand idea of, down the river there'll be a college for the kids, and there'll be this and there'll be that, and he starts on that same storyline again, talking to Carol, about the children, and what about this and that, and so I feel like his overall initial thing was, let's get away from here. I know where to go to get away from here, and then from there, because he thinks he had this close relationship with Carol, but we all know that Carol keeps people close to her to use them for what she needs. Mm-hmm. So like I feel like his original thought was flee and then see if I can turn the tables on them, kind of thing, and get them on my side. But But it's just I was just wondering what you guys thought about that. If you thought it was genuine or not, or just fight or flight kind of response thing.
I think that he was trying to work his magic and trying to manipulate it. He was really desperate at that point, and I don't know that he was ever really genuine. I think that he's such a little manipulator and con artist to get what he wants. He is who he is because of that behavior.
Yeah,
right.
Agreed.
Right. And I feel like that's why he came to the end that he did when he did, is that you can't. Carol sees through that. Right?
Yeah. Well,
you're not bullshitting, Carol.
Exactly. You have no relationship with her. Like whatever you thought was there never existed.
Right. And I think she's smart enough to know that when there was an opportunity, he would have done the same to her.
Yeah. Meg, why are you on the fence? What are you on the fence about with that situation? Where are you 50-50 on this with him?
Like if I was like if I thought he was truly insane or if it was a ploy.
Yeah.
When I first saw him go, like when we first saw him in the room with like Sebastian or what's left of Sebastian, I really thought like seeing him in the with the coin and the blood, I was like, oh my god, he's gone insane.
Mm-hmm.
But then seeing him like leading Carol, I was like, okay, something doesn't add up. And when they're in the tunnel and he kind of disappears and he's like, oh, I thought you were right behind me.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of goes back to that. But then when you mentioned how he, like his last move was so not calculated when he is so calculated, that's when I'm like, oh, maybe he was insane. So it was, that's why I'm kind of on the fence about it.
Okay. Yeah, this tunnel scene is, once again, I mean, the whole, it didn't, for me, it didn't fit the episode.
Right, I agree.
Mm-hmm. Like this whole dark, claustrophobic kind of thing, him and Carol walking, and she's got a flashlight. You hear walkers, and obviously we knew, watching this, that they're going to walk into an area where there's going to be walkers.
Really?
Yeah. And they're going to be so quiet. They're going to be so quiet.
They're going to come out of nowhere.
You won't hear them until they're right behind you.
Now we have ninja walkers.
Yeah. She can hear Ezekiel walking up behind her with music playing, but not the shuffling of a walker into pin drop darkness. Can't pick.
What was to do with the skins off of them?
Yeah.
It was so cool. It was gross and really neat. But why even take them in that tunnel and then show us this and then you're done? And just leave it out. And I don't think it's going to have relevance later because they're moving on already. Like the preview for the next episode. I haven't watched it, but the preview for the next episode, they're already moving on. So yeah, I was very confused why that was put in there.
Yeah, the walker looked great. The sunken eyes and everything like that, and the skull and stuff. But other than like that one visual effect, it didn't fit. Like it
felt out of place.
Yeah. And like you said, Renee, like what you're in it, you're out of it. Like, whoa, for what?
Well, Pam said in the chat too. She goes, maybe we'll see more of those later. And that's kind of what I thought. But they're moving on. I don't know. We'll see.
What's the skin really symbolize to us, though? It symbolizes, the Whisperers. That's what skin symbolizes for us, So
But I couldn't know. It was very, it felt very out of place.
It felt very like we. Sorry, go ahead. I felt like I was like, oh my god, we just like walked into like Silence of the Lambs. I can hear like it puts the lotion in the bathroom.
Yeah.
I just love watching like the skin getting ripped off because action sequences and shows like this, same with action sequences in Supernatural. Things happen so quickly. So the fact you got to emphasize this one moment where you get to just watch it in slow motion, the horror fan in me was like, yes,
Yeah. I don't want to not touch on it, but there's really not. So we all know that Yumiko goes and does the the flip and says that she's gonna represent Eugene. But if you notice, like in that scene, there's some people that are like, "Oh no," and then there's some people who are like, "Yeah, go ahead and do that." So like you can tell that there's definitely a sway in that crowd with the community as far as like there's the tides are turning, and or some tides have been turned, obviously, but
Well, after hearing Sebastian's, that recording, that had to be huge for
Yeah.
people. They knew that stuff. They know how Sebastian is. They know how Pamela is. But, like, they hadn't had, like, that concrete proof that is how they feel about the citizens, and they know, there's the upper class, the lower class, and all those things. But to actually hear someone say those words, that's really got to do something to those people that were already like, I already know they're kind of that way.
Yeah. Thinking about Lance again too, and like where we're trying to find out like where his headspace is. Calculated Lance, I don't think would have given them information that would make him more disposable. Talking about the train, talking about like all these things, he really just that's not the Lance that like we have known for the past couple.
He would have kept every bargaining chip possible.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Here it was more. I feel like he knew like my time is limited, so I'm just gonna take risk, no calculation, just risk it all. And because he really just gave him everything and left himself with no bargaining chip.
Right. And that building they were coming on, there were
two guards.
So I was like, was he trying to lead her into something? And there was
Right.
something in the building, you know what I mean? Maybe that was, or did they just come upon it? Like as they were walking along.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't understand that either. There were only two walkers guarding it, but what were they guarding?
Mm-hmm.
And, that was another one that I just was confused about. I really rewound. I was like, did I miss something? Because I thought,
because all you see is Daryl looking through the binoculars, and it shows the building.
There's only two of them in there,
Yeah.
And Lance even said something like, well, that should be nothing for you guys,
Yeah, right.
Like he was trying to lure them to that spot for some reason.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Guess we won't know.
Yeah.
We won't know, right? And then comes the reach for the rifle. Errol put Errol. I put Arrow and Carol together. Carol puts an arrow through it. Yeah, barrel. Yeah.
Barrel Nixon.
She puts an arrow through his neck, and they take the Jeep and they sped off. But yeah, I'm wondering if because we saw him die, but we didn't see him dead.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like he hasn't. Yeah. So I'm wondering if we're gonna have like a
I hope we see a Lance Walker, but he's done interviews saying that was his. He said
that was his last day of filming, right?
But that doesn't. He could be throwing us off. Maybe he's just saying that or something.
Well, that doesn't. So that could have been his last day of filming, but they could have brought him in and done makeup on him and stuff, right? Carrie had another and done some shots with him as a walker, maybe at some point in time. Do they do stuff like that? Kind of mishmash it around, like, hey, come in this one day and.
Not so much, right?
No?
But it depends how they shot that. But usually it depends. I mean, this is first off, it's the last season, so all bets are off.
Yeah, sure, I gotcha.
They're trying to keep some secrets, right? And throw some surprises out there. But usually you sort of shoot, an episode at a time, or sometimes they do it in blocks of a couple. But who knows? Maybe they didn't. I mean, maybe they thought too, because they had just done that with Sebastian, to then do it. Yeah, it was a bit repetitive, but who knows? Maybe we just know he's out wandering around somewhere, and
probably. I mean, he's had to have, reanimated. I mean, wasn't a headshot. And then obviously we have all of our people on these transport buses, and
I know
when they showed Ezekiel get the shot, I literally in my head I'm thinking they put it in his dreadlock, thinking it was his neck, because he was kind of like looking around and peering around in it a little bit. And then when they literally focused in on that one shot. And I'm like, oh, he didn't get the injection. They put it in his dreadlock, thinking that maybe the needle, the hair absorbed it.
I totally thought that the hair absorbed it.
Yeah. Because there was, you know what I mean? Like the way they literally shot that scene, I felt like they wanted you to think that it didn't go in.
Yeah.
Like I injected his dreadlock by accident kind of thing. But
right, or his goiter.
Goiter.
Inside.
Or his goiter. got the gout.
I love the scene with Yumiko and Connie when they're in like the pantry closet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, they're like, oh my god, we may never see each other again, and it's kind of a really weird reality, because like not just in the apocalypse but in real life too. You never know when the last time is you're going to see someone, and in a show like this, when all bets are off, the stakes are really high, they really know like this may be it. So I thought it was a really significant moment that like I was reading articles about reviews of the episode, and a lot of articles missed out on that part. I just thought it was really.
I kind of felt like that with a lot of characters. I felt like this episode in particular, I felt kind of like that kind of thing, like where they're all getting pulled apart. And there were a couple of times in the episode where I'm like, I don't know that those characters will ever see each other again. Like, it's like everyone's kind of now being pulled in different directions. And as a viewer, I was like, oh gosh, like there were a few moments when I was like, is this the last time they're going to see each other?
Right.
And like, who else is on that bot? Who are all the other people with the hook?
Right.
It's like Maggie, Rosita, Gabriel.
But in the trailer though, all you see is Kelly, Ezekiel, and Negan on the one. I mean, I don't know where the other buses have gone, but on that, it looks like they're going to like a labor camp in the trailer.
Yeah.
And it's only Negan, Ezekiel, and Kelly. I've slowed the video down.
Yeah. Well, that's what.
I'm looking at all the faces, after they get their hoods off,
Yeah. So they're definitely at some kind of construction area.
Like a labor camp.
Yeah. The caption says the warden. So, and he says today is the first day of a new beginning.
Yeah.
They have a shot of a glimpse of Ezekiel and Gabe with a radio talking to, it looks like Rosita in the woods.
Yeah, he's with Rosita in the scene. I know, I saw that.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's really all they showed. Like, it wasn't.
Yeah, it's a very, there wasn't a whole lot. But other trailers seem to give a little bit more. This one's very,
Yeah, they did not reveal a whole lot of their hand for the next episode.
Yeah. I mean, even
Walking Dead, they did.
Oh,
They
yeah?
showed a little more. They showed, that's why I said, like, Rosita, Gabriel, Maggie, you see them trying to escape the one, the
they
truck
showed
they're
that.
in.
I think
Yeah.
Well, they-
That's not a spoiler, because they showed it.
Right, no, it's on the trailer.
And then Maggie gets trapped back with them.
They show the train.
Yeah, because they show the train, and then they also they see something with the kids, and then we do see Herschel being grabbed and yelling for his mom. So
I feel like this episode in like the preview was just a lot of setup. Like I think Pi said it was like getting the chess pieces on the board.
Yep. Yeah, everything's
Yep, and now we're gonna start seeing the pieces move.
Man, you better, because we got four
Four episodes.
I mean, you better start moving some chess pieces.
And this one's called Outpost 22, so that's what they designated for Alexandria. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. They show an injured Commonwealth soldier on the ground and Daryl pulling out a knife in the background. So, I don't know.
Yeah, because that Commonwealth soldier, I thought there was a clip with Rosita, and it almost makes it look like Mercer's coming at her. A bloody Mercer, but then I saw the picture, the still, and it's like but his arm's cut off and there's blood. So I think they just kind of, it was very good camera work.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, there's no way. But yeah, it just kind of, the clip was very quick. But then I saw the still, and then I think I saw that in the trailer then too. So
Yeah.
That's what but.
Yeah, you got Daryl saying you took your kids for me.
Yeah.
And or you took my kids for me, and then it says you want to die quick or you want to die screaming. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Not happy.
yeah, that's and then they show some people being shot at. I don't know if that's an escape attempt. So yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. Rosita's on the ground crawling, and it definitely looks like it's just covered in blood, though.
But it looks, it looks like just the way that's, filmed, it looks like, oh, was that Mercer? I had to do a double take and slow it down and watch again. Then when I saw the still of that Commonwealth with his arm, the soldier with his arm, I figured that's what that is.
There is one other scene that's got Ezekiel and Negan, and they're back to back, and Negan's saying, "Are you with me?"
Yeah.
So we obviously know that, and it looks like it says Ezekiel says, "I'm with you."
Yeah. That's right.
So I mean, look, if you can't wait until, I mean, look, I'm going to admit it. I already watched it. All right, I'm gonna. Look. You cannot dangle that cookie in front of me. I'm going to eat the cookie.
Kind of like House of Dragon.
Yeah, kind of like House of Dragon.
I'm gonna throw a cookie at you this weekend.
I'm going to eat it, even if it lands on the floor. I did. I went and I watched. So I'll be like this while we're watching it live. Oh my! But
I gotta watch it this week so I can get my writing done for the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Publish, and I won't have to after Friday. I have zero time for that. So
Don't
I
worry.
will have to watch it tomorrow.
I won't watch it until we're in Georgia.
Thank you, Ryan.
On Sunday.
Be with me.
Absolutely. So that way, me and Meg will be in the back like, oh my god, and Chris will be like, I didn't see that coming at all. Oh my god.
And I would with you, but it's kind of like my livelihood, so I have
True.
to.
You have an excuse.
Between now and Sunday, Carrie has to give Chris a lot of pro tips so he can react naturally.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
Right.
yes.
Yeah.
Right.
I want a lot of that.
Chris never make a pull at all.
Well,
That's what
like-
I'm worried about.
Oh, ooh.
I did not see that coming.
You got me on that one.
You got me, Skippy.
Yeah. So it's going to be fun though. We're all going to be together, and that's honestly
I'm
really
excited.
that. I mean,
It's so much fun to watch the episode together, regardless if we watched it or not.
Yeah.
It's fun. Yeah.
Exactly. exactly.
There's nothing like watching, with a big audience. Because even if
Yeah.
you've seen it,
Yeah.
you get swept up
Oh,
into
yeah.
everyone's reaction, and it becomes new again. So just
What-
go in, just forget everything you know, just experience it.
Mm-hmm.
One of my coolest experiences of watching any episode of The Walking Dead was December of 2019, Walker Stalker Con Atlanta, and I'm in an Airbnb with like 16 other people, and one of the people that I was with was Marisol,
Mm-hmm. and
she was hysterical. So the entire time she goes, "Look, it's my leg. Look, it's my arm." And at one point, they're in Alexandria, and I don't know if it was like the church or the town hall or whatever the hell where the council was meeting, and you see her hair, and she goes, "Look, it's my afro." The whole room just started dying laughing, and she the whole night she just kept saying that, "Look, it's my arm," and I couldn't. Every time I see her, I remind her of that, and she goes, "I forgot about that."
Do the same thing though. Don't lie.
Oh yeah,
I would too. Yeah.
absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, 100%. So, Carrie,
Yes.
it's been a while since we've seen Clark.
It has been a while.
And we have a tradition
We do have a tradition.
when you're on our show.
Yes. Well, now it's a tradition. Now tradition.
Yeah.
Second
Starting
time.
right now.
Starting it now. Could we get a little Clark before you go for the evening?
I just one sec, because I gotta just
Oh, yeah, turn it on. Whatever you gotta do. Oh man, is she gonna put on? Oh my gosh, she put on a black. Yeah.
Oh my god.
I just also would like to say, for all of my solo ops this weekend, I am doing them as Clark.
Okay.
Ooh.
That's
All right.
awesome.
All right. I love it.
So I'll be in the suit with my clipboard.
Oh. We gotta get a new photo.
I'll say we're not to snag a picture.
A new photo. Yeah.
Ready for action.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll be doing that this
I
weekend.
want mine to say you've been rejected.
Love that.
That's what we need. We need to get Carrie a rubber stamp. One for rejected,
Yeah,
one for
yeah.
approved. So
Yeah.
you're signing autographs, you can do approved or rejected on
That's
it.
Yeah, the thing is, though, I don't know that anyone really wants to be a part of the Commonwealth.
At this point, you're probably right.
Oh goodness.
Which at the time, I was like, do you guys really want to get in here? Because I
Mhm.
don't think it's going to be that good for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Things are not looking good right now.
But we do have ice cream. And we have toilet paper.
Well,
Yeah.
You do. Just don't abuse the toilet paper privileges, okay?
well, if you're lactose intolerant, you're abusing the toilet paper.
You are. I will get really creative with the
Leave
leaf.
the ice cream.
Yeah. Yeah. Leave the ice cream.
And hopefully you don't have to fake barf.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
Because that could cause some problems.
Yeah. It would. It would.
I am ready whenever you are ready. And would you like to? I mean, Meg's very new to this, so I don't know. Would you like to audit Meg?
I would. I have a few questions. Meg the Geek,
Yes.
who is the chicest?
Ooh, the chicest final girl. I'm gonna have to come back to that one. I gotta put some thought on that one.
No answer.
No answer for now.
Were Ross and Rachel on a break?
No.
You sure about that?
Absolutely positive.
Who shot first?
I don't know. The sheriff.
What sound do you make when you step on your Legos?
As an avid Lego collector, I yelp.
Would you like to expand on that?
I would rather not in fear of any walkers that might be nearby.
This is a safe place.
How safe is it?
Very. Interesting. DC or Marvel?
Movies or comics?
Movies.
Marvel.
Final girl?
Laurie Strode.
What is the name of your group?
I don't really have one at the moment.
What is their location?
I don't have one. I'm kind of
Name
just one.
of your group.
Beauty and the Beasts. You got me to admit it.
Oh, that was my heart is racing.
I'm red. I'm red. I am beat red. I'm like,
Those were brutal questions.
That was
Awesome.
I was.
I feel like I was really in the zone.
Woo, that was
end scene.
that was freaking good.
That was amazing. So just so everyone understands,
Yeah.
this is our announcement. Meg the Geek is joining Beauty and the Beast.
Yes. Golf clap. Golf clap. We don't want to. We don't want to hurt anybody's ears. Yeah. Golf clap. Yeah.
That was so good. Did you look at Meg's social media to find those questions? When you said chicest, I was like, oh my god, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. That's why I wanted to say that. I was like, no, keep it cool. Keep it cool. I did your homework. I'm very.
We all know that Han Solo shot first.
Han shot first. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well,
I told you off by saying anything.
that's why. Wait, I don't know if you heard it, but when you said the sheriff, I went, blames the cops. Yeah.
I was trying to stay in the moment because I knew if I looked, I would have laughed.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I was trying not to laugh, and this guy's in my ear.
In case you looked up or anything, I was like, oh my gosh, no, I was keeping my eye. Oh, this is
Amazing. Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you. That was phenomenal. Thank you.
I hope the crowd is going wild.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's about time I could finally say it out loud.
That's how I felt with Walking Dead. There were about like 6 or 7 months when I had already shot it and I couldn't say anything about it. And it was like the hardest thing to keep a secret.
Yeah.
And then they started to release like those casts, like those character interviews, and it was my voice, right, at the beginning. And so I just started like sharing those.
Yeah,
right? Like, that sounds like you. And I was like, doesn't
Weird.
it? It's really, okay.
Uh-huh.
And then finally, when they announced it, I was like, thank God.
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
was like dying. I was like, if I have to keep this a secret until the show actually airs, I'm going to die.
They're like dangling that NDA in front of you.
Yeah.
Non-disclosure agreement.
Exactly.
One of the actors, and I can't remember who it was now. I feel like it was a Reaper or someone earlier, in season 11, and the promo photos that they gave us had his name in there. So I posted. I mean, AMC released this. This is
Right.
And he's like, "Oh, I didn't know this was sitting on Twitter," and he's announcing it because they posted the promo photo, so that he was excited.
Yeah. Same for me though too, because there was a photo that was released and then it was all over social media, and I was like, I guess we're talking about this now.
So once those promo photos get released by AMC, I'm like, it's free game.
It's game on.
That's like I'm an avid comic book fan, and I love all the movies and shows that revolve around the comics. And when they were doing all the promo stuff for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, and we hear Charles Xavier, and he says, he goes, shall we tell him the truth? And you hear his voice. I got chills. And then Patrick Stewart goes on this tour, this media tour, and he's like, no, it's not me. And I'm like, don't lie to me. I know your voice. I listened to your voice for 30 years. Don't lie to me.
No. And you guys want to know another thing about Chris? I don't know where Chris is at, but
Right there, he had a pee, he had a twinkle.
The bang hit back.
So tonight marks our 40th episode of the rebranding of Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
So everybody knows. So
The big one. We turned 40.
No, let's not rush this.
Right, whoa, hey.
Yeah, some of us are way past that, Meg. We don't care.
Yeah. What are you looking at me
I'm in
for?
my 30s while I can.
Right. I know.
It's okay, big guy.
I wasn't talking about you, Chris. You know who I was talking about.
Oh, it wasn't me? Oh. Okay.
No.
Work on that acting of yours.
I didn't yell at Patrick Stewart. I was just upset and emotional, okay? Because don't lie to me. I know who you are, Patrick. I love you.
Yeah.
The thing is with these NDAs is that we're so afraid to say the wrong thing, or where you're like, all of a sudden you've got the legal team calling you, and you're like, what happened? What happened to the trailer? So it's tough. It is so confusing too. With some of them, it's like, we want you to promote the show, but do it this way, but don't do it then. Do it now, but then do it. And you're like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do, but. My thing is, if you release the trailer or the photo, it's game on.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
What was the hardest role you had to keep under wraps, in your whole career?
Oh my God. It was probably that, because I was so excited about it, especially it being the last season, and that I was a part of the Commonwealth, which, we'd had a little teaser, a little bit of at the end of 10, but that was probably the hardest thing to keep under wraps. I mean, and it's so over the top, because even just to audition for the show, you have to sign an NDA, and the person reading with you in the audition has to sign an NDA.
Yeah.
And it's a whole thing. So, and some of these shows, they go so over the top. With Walking Dead, the audition scene was the interrogation scene, although they had edited it down because it was so long.
Mm-hmm.
And they had changed all the character names. It said Clark, because no one knew who Clark was, but all the other character names were all changed. But it was so, I've talked about this before, in starting that scene, it's this is Eugene Porter. Come on, who else would answer these questions? But sometimes, even Supernatural, sometimes they would heavily redact things, or they would have an audition scene that had nothing to do. It was just kind of in the flavor of what you might be doing. So it's really tricky, where they'll do that sometimes, but they're so secretive. It's this isn't even a real scene. But Walking Dead, because I was just so excited about being a part of that those opening couple of episodes, and I just couldn't tell anybody. And that was probably the hardest one. But there's so many secrets now. It wasn't like that before. Now everyone wants to keep everything a secret.
Yeah.
And then you have the spoiler leaks left and right, regardless of the show or movies. Everything is just getting leaked nowadays, and it's like take a Black Adam for instance. If you didn't see it opening weekend, you were spoiled.
Yeah, it's already out. I mean, everything.
Yeah, even if Universal's posting it, Sony's posting it, it's just like. I mean, I knew it already because Dwayne Johnson repeated it all, but
the final episode there of House of the Dragons was leaked. Where they leaked.
Oh yeah, I heard about
They
that.
leaked it in Europe.
Like
You said
4 days earlier, something in Europe somewhere.
somewhere. Someone from
That's
HBO, right?
Some not. I don't know if it was an HBO employee or if it was like one of their like network people or what. There was someone connected to HBO
Yeah.
leaked it in Europe, and it was all over the internet.
Someone has a Swiss account right now with a lot of money.
A lot of
chilling.
fat checks sitting in there.
Just chilling.
Yep.
Because you don't release that without a payday.
Oof.
I'm just glad like the final Walking Dead episode isn't going to be airing early on AMC because think about how bad that's going to leak.
Yeah. And look,
Yes and no. I don't know. Do people? I don't see. I try to stay away from it when it's on because I don't want to know. But do people talk? Do people spoil the episodes? Oh, they do.
Insanely.
Yeah.
So I stay away.
yeah.
We're smart.
It's when you get screeners and things like that, you get them several weeks ahead, and there are people
Right.
who get screeners because that will also they'll just leak out little things or do whatever and
Right.
I don't know there's not really a way to police that I mean they like when you're watching a screener it has your name across it
Yeah.
so you can't like do screenshots, you can't do that kind of stuff, but that doesn't mean you can't type something and send it to someone else and say, hey, push this out.
Yeah.
There's,
Right.
because there's ways, I mean, somebody's doing that. But no, with Walking Dead, I've heard a lot of complaints online about, I subscribe to AMC Plus, I pay for the service and blah, and I'm like, this is the final episode.
Yeah.
I don't care, because I paid for it.
Yeah.
But it's like, I am not complaining because I don't want to know.
Yeah.
I just don't.
And I think there's something really cool about everybody watching it at the same time.
Sure. Yeah.
Absolutely.
At least in your time zone.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I think that's the thing. It's the reason why, we love to go to the movies opening weekend and have that shared experience, right?
Yeah.
And it kind of gets watered down when there's multiple ways to see it or see it early or whatever. If you want everyone, it's going to be an emotional night anyway, and you kind of want to go through it all together and not know anything. So I think so. Anyway, I'm okay with waiting.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
One extra week won't hurt.
Yeah.
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 And then there's that anticipation, so
Yeah, being the series finale, it's kind of a big thing.
Yeah.
and I think that's what's made like this what's so hard like since COVID is now, things are released, in theaters and then streaming the same day and this and that. And there's just all these multiple ways to see things where, it used to be you get your tickets early and go and sit together in the theater, and now it's like I'm just gonna stay home and watch that.
Yeah.
It's changed a lot. The industry's changed a lot. So, and just binging. I was talking to Renee. It's like I stayed up way too late binging The Watcher.
Oh, good series though. It was so good.
Like till 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an hour from me.
Really?
So I drive through the town often.
I
Okay.
was reading though, they changed it a lot from the actual story.
Yeah.
So
But it was I read a lot of negative feedback on that one, and I was like, I thought that was outstanding. We couldn't stop watching it.
Yeah.
well, I thought it was entertaining, but I kind of liked it less after reading like the actual story and like how much they embellished.
Yeah.
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 But it's really trippy. Like my husband Michael, he grew up outside of New York in a community where a lot of weird in his neighborhood, a lot of weird stuff. And his house that he lived in had a demonic presence as a kid growing up. But then around him there were all of these. It kind of reminded me of that. He said the same thing. This reminds me of the neighborhood I grew up. Because there was like the woman next door got murdered and like a really weird.
That would be
Like-
time for me to move.
Yeah. Well, hold on. Where in New York? Because
Yeah. I know.
I'm not going to disclose that neighborhood.
I just want to know if I have to move now or.
Like weird weird stuff
Yeah.
like happened in that neighborhood, and then
Yeah.
you know they were going through their own stuff. I mean, it was just crazy what he went through.
Mhm.
But yeah, so that could be a whole series in itself. So
Yeah.
Ryan Murphy, if you need some new inspiration, give us a call.
There we
There you go.
Speaking of crazy, shows and things, Cabinet of Curiosities came out today with the first 2 episodes. Andrew Lincoln will be in the final on Friday. They're just releasing 2 episodes a day through Friday, and Andrew Lincoln will be in the final episode on Friday. So just
fun.
yeah.
Okay. Something to watch.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
I was saying to Renee, I love October because all the like Christmas stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. The
That would
Netflix
be my jam.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
kidding.
Netflix has been doing their
Netflix and chill.
Netflix and chills. Yeah. So
That was what's Mr. Harrington or Harrington, however it is called, Harrington's phone. And I don't know. I wasn't impressed with that one, but you know.
yeah.
That one I haven't seen.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what was the one that I was saying I watched also I binged through? Oh, 28 Days
Yeah.
Haunted. Yeah. We've just been binging right through them all.
That's how I was with Umbrella Academy. I binged Umbrella Academy so hard. And I stayed up till like 6 o'clock in the morning, and I had to be up for work.
It's so hard because they gear it like to get
Sure.
you, right?
Yeah.
It's like 2, 3 in the morning. You're like, I gotta go to bed. Oh my God,
What's next?
what episode? You know, Michael is the worst because he'll be like, let's just watch the first few minutes and see what happens. And of course, they don't resolve that cliffhanger. Right?
Sure.
You have to keep watching, and then you're like, well, now we're halfway through this episode.
Yep.
And then again, it happens where you're like, oh.
Yeah. That's what happened with The Watcher. I was like, well, they got me now, so I'm going to keep going. So,
I think the Watcher sees you're like, well, that's only 7 episodes.
Yeah,
It's like,
right.
we can get through
We
it.
can get through this
But
quick.
then,
Sure.
yeah, cuts at 4 a.m. when we're like,
Yeah.
oh my God, I have to go to bed.
Yeah, exactly.
and you're like, it's unsolved. Come on. I did all this for nothing.
Yeah, it is trippy. And then what happens is then I launch into the whole, like I fall down the rabbit hole of like reading what was the real story? Who were
Yeah.
these people? Where was the
Mhm.
house? It's like, it's bad. I love like the true, like based on a true story or the true crime or whatever. And
Mhm.
it's like, we'll stay up. I was saying to Renee, I'm totally sucked into like unsolved mysteries.
Oh, yeah.
Days trying to figure out why did she leave the party so early? That's so odd.
Yeah.
Like, Michael and I are in these deep conversations, but you think though, like we're somehow going to solve it. Like, yeah, I love that stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe I should have been like a detective or something, maybe.
Or play one on
I think,
TV.
like, as an actor, I always kind of think of myself as a detective
Mhm.
because, you get sides or a script or whatever, and you have to kind of, through the material, like put the pieces together. And so that's a part of my job that I really enjoy of like, well, who is this person? Right? Where did she come from? And so I have that in me. So when we get into those cases, I'm just like, and the stuff that happens in real life is even crazier than movies, right? You're like, that really happened?
Right.
Yeah.
And then trying to put that, that story on the big screen, how it transitions and everything. So, and that's why I think a lot of stuff gets lost in translation because a lot of stuff is hard to do or you can't do it like cinematically. It doesn't fit, it doesn't work or whatever. So that's where people tend to get like pissed off. Oh, that's not accurate. Like, that's not comic book accurate. Well, okay, it's not.
It gets hard too because the network has certain things that
Sure.
they want to see, and now everything's all about algorithms, and
Yeah.
people like this to happen in episode 2, and then they have to write something like that. So it gets tricky
Yeah.
in that respect. But with that story, it's so strange because they sold but I guess there was a Lifetime movie that was about that same case.
Oh,
Which I didn't know about,
surprised.
and the family had nothing to do with that. And I guess that they sold their story to Netflix because they didn't like how their story was portrayed, but then they weren't really involved in a Netflix show. So it's like, all right. fine.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I want to throw it back to the algorithm real quick. If you guys want our algorithm to get all popular and see us everywhere on social media and stuff, all you need to do is like, subscribe, mention it to some friends, share it, stuff like that. And then that gets us in the algorithm. And then the next thing you know, hey, look at us. We're all popular and stuff.
That was
Nice plug.
Yeah.
That was magnifique. I was looking for that plug. You know what I mean?
There you go. I just said right there. I just set it right up for you.
Yeah. And also, obviously, once again, anybody watching right now who is going to be at the camp, you know that you will see Carrie in person. And you will get, and obviously, she still has tickets available as well for talking shit.
Talk
Real shit. Talk real shit.
Talk real shit.
And then you'll get your photo too with her if you choose, with her as Clark.
Yes.
That's right.
So I mean, there's a lot of good stuff.
There's some super cool group ops, which they haven't done, I don't think. So there's a Supernatural that I'm part of, and then there's the Walking Dead cast off, which is going to be
that's amazing. Yeah, thanks for doing that. Yeah,
Very cool.
that was good. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can get all those tickets at thecampevents.com.
Yeah. Michael, you're back, but Mitchell. I'm sorry, Mitchell, you're back, but we're leaving. Yeah, man. You know,
it's not you, it's us.
Yeah, really, honestly.
So we're glad you're here.
Yeah, we're super happy, and we're gonna see Mitchell as well in person, and that'll be great. Mitchell's traveling.
He's gonna be at the viewing party.
Right?
Yeah.
Not the camp, right? So,
but yes, we're gonna see him.
yeah, we'll see him, you'll definitely see him. You guys will, Meg and Renee will definitely see him in person.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much like Lance right now with my coin spinning in the air, waiting to see how it's gonna land.
If you don't get on that flight, I'm gonna kick your ass. I need a step stool, but I'm gonna kick your ass.
So yeah. Other than that, I want to say thank you so much for spending 2 hours with us tonight. It went by very quick.
It did.
It's like always, it's a ton of fun, and I can't wait to see you in person in a couple days.
Yes.
And
soon.
We will.
Do you guys get there Friday then?
Yeah, we get there.
We're gonna get there.
Okay. I know when Chris and Ryan are getting there.
We're like, yeah, we're gonna be there Friday. My bang's wearing off already.
Oh, God.
Oh.
But yes, Carrie will see you Saturday morning.
Absolutely,
Okay.
yes.
And also, at the camp, when you want to break from everything, you can get some puppy therapy,
Yes.
which is always very nice. You get some downtime. There's dogs everywhere, and you can just sit there with the dog and pet it and just kind of
Actually, Pam, actually, at the camp in May, I had a lengthy conversation with Carrie and Michael about Michael's paranormal experiences and other projects in the past that Carrie was a part of in the paranormal world. Mm-hmm. And I mean, we talked for like 30 minutes
easily,
if not more. And I mean, it was
We'll have him come on next time also.
Absolutely.
Talk supernatural stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
Whatever. Yeah.
I mean, I'll talk about my ghost hunting stuff,
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Let me just say that on the regular, we have salt and holy water in our house, in like a huge container.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Holy water, yeah.
And in the Costco bottle.
Yeah. Right.
I don't think it's down here right now, but it's in like an actual full-on spray bottle. It's this big. Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, that's normal in our house. When I first moved in with Michael, there was a situation that we had to have a shaman take care of.
What?
And this is before we had Daphne, but we had salt, everywhere around the perimeter. I mean, it was pretty intense. Yeah. Michael comes with a lot of interesting.
That's his childhood in that demonic town.
Because I developed a number of paranormal shows, there's people that I have on speed dial that are shaman, demonologists, pagan exorcists, these types of people. So when I noticed that something was going on, I'm like, let's see who I can call. There's some people I think I need to call and just check in. So we always are at the ready. The funniest thing is like when we had to do get all the salt around the perimeter of the home and everything. Like, you need a lot of salt. Right?
Yeah.
So, Michael went to like Petco or something and bought like a huge bag, right, of salt. And the cashier was like, "Oh, do you have a big fish tank at home?" And he goes, "No." Right? And she just looked at him and she went, "Oh."
yeah. No.
She got it right away.
Yeah.
When you live in the South, people are like, "Oh."
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, the South is notorious for haunted stuff. So,
I mean, Georgia has the most haunted city in the United States, Savannah, Georgia.
Yeah.
This property that we're working on getting, it was built in 1901, and it has a very cool history, and including a secret speakeasy down in the basement that you like move a bookcase to get to. It's awesome.
That's cool.
And I was down there by myself one day, and Michael was outside with the realtor, and I thought they had come inside because I saw like a shadow cross by the door frame, and then all of a sudden I hear Michael and the realtor talking, and I'm like, "Oh, they're still outside, so that was someone else." But it didn't feel like anything negative. But I've had my folks check out the house, and they said there's definitely some spirits roaming around in there, but it's very positive.
Oh, good.
So maybe candies or something.
Yeah. Will that positively drive the price down?
Not in the South.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that's like a hike in price. Like, no, you're gonna get the ultimate experience. Yeah.
This is incentive. Yeah. The first thing I do, like, because we've been looking at, because Renee and I talked about, we were looking at historical properties in different places, and there was another one that we were looking at that is actually on a ghost tour. So there's like, there actually was an apparition in the listing photos.
Oh, good.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
In that one.
There's nothing good up front. This is what
At least they're honest.
I was like, "Who's the person in this picture?" And they're like, "There was no one in the house." I'm like, I would look at that picture. But that was the first thing I checked to see if it was on the ghost tour, and it was not. But the thing is, there's always things around us.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't have a problem as long as they play nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, agree.
It's like the Southern realtor checkoff list. Do you want haunted or unhaunted? Unhaunted? Aw.
It's like what growing up in the 90s, going to a restaurant, smoking or non-smoking?
Yeah. Spooky or non-spooky?
What do we? Things I need to know for next year.
Right.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Our house was built like in 1903, and Josh and Joy are both like can't wait to see something. They've had some interesting things happen, but they haven't got their equipment out yet. So we'll see.
Interesting.
The day's something.
We definitely, if all goes well, and with this, we'll probably, kind of get a sense of what's going on, and we may have a team come out just to sort of check things out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's nothing. The house is really great energy. There's just, it was a house that was known for having great events and parties and so forth. So I feel like it's just kind of people that check in to see what's going on. They're just waiting for the next party.
Right. Okay.
Well, that's
totally cool, Chris. Totally cool.
Yeah, no, it's totally cool. I'll just hang outside. Hey.
We'll have to have you guys do a live podcast from the speakeasy in the basement. And
yes.
That's exactly.
I'm there. I mean, I was the paranormal investigator for like 8 years, and the one incident that happened that turned me from a half skeptic, half believer to a true believer actually scared the shit out of me. And so it was a local place, a local residence in one of the surrounding towns where Chris and I live. And we got called in by the owners, and they said, well, we kind of had this weird stuff happen. Our son lives with us, and he's in his 20s, and he doesn't like being here. He doesn't like the energy, blah, blah, whatever. Okay, cool. So the group that I was a co-founder of at the time, one of our co-founders was, she has a very strong Native American heritage. And so one thing when we formed our team that she asked us to kind of observe and respect was smudging. And so I said, absolutely, I'm completely okay with that. And so was our other co-founder. And so at the beginning and ending of an investigation, we'd always cleanse ourselves. And so we went into the house. Before we went into the house, we did our smudging, our cleansing. And we went into the house. We did the walkthrough with the clients. Something felt off. Like, it was kind of like this, like, knot in our chest, and we couldn't really explain it. And it was like almost like you get, like, you know, when you gulp and you kind of like feel that in your throat. That's what it was, but it wouldn't go away. And so we did the investigation for like about 6 hours. We had some very weird things happen, but nothing that was like in your face. It wasn't like an apparition. It wasn't like somebody saying "get out" on an EVP recording. It was just very weird things that were happening. Things would get knocked over, but we couldn't see it. And so it had to be like 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. We're wrapping up, and we're in the driveway. And one of the co-founders is doing the smudging of us. And as she's doing it, the homeowners, there was nobody in the house. We know that for a fact because we tore that house upside down. The homeowners are on the front lawn. There is now nobody in the house. The son just got home from work. The three of us are in the driveway smudging. Out of the basement. No,
that's cleansing, everybody.
Yeah, cleansing. So, you know those half windows that are in like the basement and they're actually at like ground level? Mm-hmm. There was one of those on the driveway. Mm-hmm. And so the windows were open because it was like late spring, early summer. And so we're doing that, we're cleansing, and a really loud, deep male voice says, "Don't do that again." And I was like, "Oh, fuck no." I'm like, we're going to go on the street and do that. Let's go. Yeah. And we had just turned off our equipment and everything. Otherwise, we would have got on one of our recordings, but it just happened. And we kind of had that moment where we looked at each other, and then we looked at the homeowners, and they looked at us, and they went, "Yeah, that wasn't one of you guys, wasn't it?" We're like, "No."
Somebody throwing their voice or something.
Yeah. And the last thing I know is that they actually got a Catholic priest involved, from the last I heard. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
The power of
I've
Christ compels you.
Yeah, I've had a lot of experience. I've seen things. Yeah. I've had things touch me. I've had things, say my name. I'm like all kinds of things. Yeah. Just in my experience. And then, developing shows around the paranormal too. Mm-hmm. Just in shooting stuff, I had a producing partner that was a non-believer, just was like, I know this makes great television. And after we were finished one night, was like, I can't explain most of what happened tonight.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's like, yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. No. Good. Most of it's fine.
I won't.
Yeah. But yeah, we had to extract somebody. In our last place, that was attached to Michael. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It was a process, but he's gone.
Thankfully.
I can't. I'm sorry. I just can't.
I'll be crying in the corner.
I can't. I don't mess with a lot of like that whole. When I grew up, like there was people always messing with the damn Ouija boards and shit. Like
no.
You couldn't catch me within a mile of one of those damn things. Like I was like, go ahead, guys, you have fun. Like see you later. Like, I don't need to talk to nobody. I don't need to find my dead great grandpa. I'm okay. Like we're good. We're so good. So yeah, we don't. I'm okay.
Well, on that note.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Stay safe out there, kids.
Yeah, absolutely. Halloween's coming.
Spooky season. The veil between the living and the dead thins.
Yeah. Everyone, thank you for being here with us. We appreciate you guys hanging out.
Carrie, thank you for giving us 2 hours of the night.
Yeah. And welcome, Meg.
Yeah. Thank you for auditing me. That was phenomenal. Many people can really say that they got audited by Clark.
Yeah.
It's a very small handful of people.
Yeah.
Honored to be part of that. And honored to be part of Beauty and the Beasts.
Very cool. Thank you so much.
We're happy to have you, man.
Yeah, of course we're happy to have you. We don't want it any other way. That's it.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Carrie, we will see you soon. You have a great night.
You too. We'll see you in a couple days.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
All right. Safe travel,
Bye, guys.
everybody.
Peace.
Hey, Renee, Chris, and Ryan going live. Best podcast, Beauty and the Beast. Sit back and catch a vibe. Oh yeah, we talking zombies and apocalypses and all those things you like. Going beast mode, and if you didn't know, it's Peter Z up on the mic. Whoa, hey, TWD family, grab the snacks about the pantry. Subscribe and like if you can, please, or those walkers eat you like some candy. Hey, okay. You at the right place at the right time. No one does it better, that's the bottom line. Beauty and the Beast, this is prime time. Let's go.